Joyce Brown. Where are you, Joyce Brown? Here we come. No, you are not. Did you want to be last?
I thought there would be a panel.
Oh, you want the panel?
I don't
Okay.
care, but then I look at city council all the time and I see.
You want the panel, Ms. Brown?
I'll start. No, I'd like to leave.
All right.
Okay.
You are a woman after my own heart. No, it's not.
Well, I've been in housing, interested in housing for over 20 years. When the Mitchell Residence Council was active, I'm sure I remember you from there. And there was one person who kept on insisting that the private housing law should be amended, since it says that the authorities, government authorities, may, and he felt it should be changed to shall, because making the law an authority may says that the authority has a decision whether to comply with the law or not. That's how it reads, unless it's been changed recently. The Assembly has been almost every year, a few years ago, trying to amend the law, but as you know, you need the Senate as well as the governor, I think.
Senate first.
Yeah. They have to agree, and that has yet to be done, and I don't think it will ever be done. But since it isn't going, we'll say it's not going to be done, how can someone go around those, the limitations, so that we can get a governing body like HPD to enact the laws? We can we, huh?
We're here just to listen to you right now. Otherwise it gets into a give and take, and it slows down the whole process. But you can feel free to come to our office. We can go into a dialogue up there at some point.
In Albany?
No, my office is right upstairs.
Okay. You have two, right? One in Albany, one here?
On the 9th floor of this building and the other in Albany, and you don't have to travel all that far to come see me.
Okay, thank you. The second part, I have three things. That was the first. The second was the HPD. I said 20 years, so maybe 15 years ago. I attended the TIL classes. I live in Mitchell-Lama.
Where?
RNA House, West 96. And I said I was involved with housing at the time. So I went to their TIL classes, which were very good. They had about a series of 4, in order for the house to convert, and it went into everything that the resident had to know about how to deal with housing. And so since nowadays, these Mitchell-Lamas seem to have people who are not aware of the laws, the regulations, their rights, their responsibilities, etc. It might be good if something could be instituted so that each shareholder in a Mitchell-Lama has to attend a class. Since the lady said that there is something on HPD's website, there may be videos. Cooperators for Mitchell-Lama says that they have a program where they will go into the housing, the co-op, and talk about it. Their rights, responsibilities, what the cooperators are entitled to. I think this won't be good because, and it's been told to me a lot in my co-op, that I want an apartment, a roof over my head, and I want a laundry in the building. And that's all I want. I'm not going to do anything with the government. I just want, just like the people with the open door, 2-door policy down the street on Lincoln, that's all they want. So it may be a little daunting, but once they find out what they're entitled to, maybe they'll be more proactive to governing the house. The third thing is Yeah. Well, I think that's about it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Thomas Lopez Briere. Is he here? He's right there. All right.
Assemblymen, members, I'll be very brief. I wanted to, as some people may know, I've been operating as a real estate, affordable housing real estate broker in Harlem for over 10 years, and I specialize in HDFC co-ops, Section 8, and tax credit housing. Basically, I'm the most unsuccessful broker in Harlem because I refuse to participate in the gentrification and displacement in my community. With that said, I wanted to comment on HDFCs and my fear of what I see going on. I should be happy that the exploitation on the HDFC co-op side is going so well because the prices are going through the roof, and as a broker, I get 6% of the sale price. But it alarms me, it concerns me, and depresses me. I believe that basically African Americans, the bus driver, the school teacher, are being locked out of these properties, and it's been happening for primarily 3 reasons. One is the mortgage financing. I think somebody spoke earlier about it. It's a shame that we have Chase Bank, which is the custodian of so many apartment security deposits. And they themselves have the largest branch network in Upper Manhattan, but they won't provide mortgages for HDFCs. And I believe that our elected officials have forced them to do it, particularly when they took welfare, when they ran into financial difficulty, we bailed them out. If we don't provide these mortgages, then the only people that can afford to get these apartments is basically people coming with cash. And it shames me, and I've never said this publicly, but it shames me to say I've never sold a HDFC co-op to a person of color in 10 years. And the reason is because of this current market of all cash deals. And those buildings that are not all cash deals, that have strong financing, usually, and I'm happy that they are, it's inside deals where the cousin, the son is buying in, and there is not an opportunity for an outside African-American Latino to get into those deals because they're well-managed buildings, and they strongly support the affordable housing concept, so they don't need a broker, and it's a very tight network. But on the problem buildings and the buildings that need all cash, they tend to go out in the market, and it excludes the hardworking bus driver and school teacher that's in your district. The two other points I want to talk about is taxes. I think that HDFC co-ops should not be paying taxes. This is going to become a serious problem. The retirement community in your district is really, really strong, and it cannot afford, through the maintenance, to continue meeting these maintenance charges. And you see, particularly among self-managed buildings, you see seniors that are basically being permitted not to pay their maintenance, and because they don't want to push out someone. But the buildings need the revenue. And so what ends up happening is we have people from outside our community who are all about business, and they will hire an attorney in quickness to push out a non-paying shareholder without understanding that this person is low income, and you can't make improvements to buildings and expect to evenly share them. A new chandelier, a bike rack room, those are not things that are a priority for people of color who are low income. And then the last thing is, I believe that unless aggressive action is taken by our elected officials, within short order, within easily 10 years, the primary HDFC co-ops will be primarily white-owned, and you will see that on the Riverside Drive. And I thank you for this opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez Villar. Thank you. Roderick Daly. You here? Going once, going twice. Wendy Frank. Feel free to summarize.
I will.
Okay, good.
I will. I know you want to go out on the phone. Someone's phone, by the way. Thank you for having me. Last year, on December 8th, I attended an HPD oversight meeting, and at that meeting, nobody knew how management companies were vetted by HPD, and they didn't know how they picked them at all. Oh, okay. Pay attention. So, how is that So what I want to address, in the state of New York, how is it that your hairdresser goes through more qualifications to cut your hair than the people who manage your building? All you have to do is say, I won lotto tomorrow, and you did too. We combine our assets to buy a building, get ourselves a real estate license, and call ourselves a management company. So I think there has to be addressed some legislation on that, because in other states they do. The other thing I wanted to address, besides the oversight of how management companies are created, is my experience is the issue of construction defects. I live on the 6th floor of an HPD-built L&M management building. I've had a roof that's leaked since day one, ponding, water coming through my light fixture, and I'm not a big fan of water and electricity together. So I don't know about that, but the issue of construction defects has been largely a newspaper journalist evidence. It was, and this is my own experience. In 2005 HPD lottery, I won an opportunity to purchase a 2-bedroom co-op. The street was blighted, the ruins of a long-abandoned New York City public school, and vacant lots. Years earlier, the agency and HPD Harlem congregation banked on a turnaround through new middle-class residents with HPD BFC construction and L&M management. To speed the process, HPD sold off remaining buildings to developers for $1 apiece. When my building was complete, I visited with my winning notification. I performed due diligence and came away assured after doing a walkthrough on my visit that I bought. So let me remind you, when you buy a co-op, you can't test drive it like a Toyota, and at least Toyota comes back 2 years later and says, yeah, you know what, the brakes don't work. My neighbors and I saw the downside of the city's construction rush when the first rainstorm leaked through our new building. In the months that followed, rainfalls found their way through the roof and into walls and dangerously into light fixtures. Mold grew in the basement of the complex. In time, our front entrance and handicap access ramps started to crumble. The concrete crumbled. Deterioration became a health risk and a form of passive discrimination. I raised these issues in a meeting of the co-op board, called the management agent, and who was picked by HPD, and wrote to HPD and the sponsor. But the sponsor, as Maria spoke, strung everything along, and everyone blamed the roofer, the contractor, everyone else, and no one would take responsibility. So what happened here was I produced photos to authorities. The developer proved particularly difficult to reach because the company changed its contact information after all the units were sold. Numerous articles were written, such as, and I've emailed this article to our co-op board and the managing agent previously. We alerted the public advocate's office, the then public advocate, and the borough president's office. And there's a 1980-90 report written by Betsy Gottbaum that you may want to read. If you just took the report and changed the date, it's the same exact thing. She wrote all about HPD construction defects and everything like that. So if you want me to email you the report, it's basically the same story, different day. The other shareholders and I learned a bitter lesson that housing is not affordable when your repair costs for poor workmanship on a newly refurbished building connected to a new one totaled over $1 million. Letters and calls were joined by those of other residents and property managers of HPD. We caught the attention of our local elected officials who at the time sat on the housing committee, and he wrote a letter to the AG's office on our behalf. Then HPD sent an asset manager to our building. Now, I'm not sure about you guys, but asset manager with whose expertise in finance and not construction came to inspect the building. And when I questioned why they would send an asset manager, not an engineer, I received no response. This is where I found out that HPD inspects their own buildings, and as a co-op, I can't go to the buildings department and inform them of my problems because that will end up with the co-op being fined for any violations. And sometimes the quest for a response turned comical. I was so frustrated that I called the new HPD commissioner, Wendell Walters, and invited him to inspect the co-op building firsthand since I found out he lived 10 blocks away. Months later, he arrived. He spent about 5 minutes, and after I pleasantly was persistent to get him to tour he only toured one section of the building and left 5 minutes later. I wrote him a thank you note, invited him to part 2 of the tour to Wendy with the co-op president, and days later, the commissioner made headlines for being escorted out of his office by the FBI, accused of fraud. After his arrest, I wrote a letter to his successor and the public advocate's office and various elected officials. And an intern who was still living at home with their parents called me back to handle the housing issue. I was polite to the intern, but asked to speak to the chief of staff, who ignored all correspondence and phone calls. So I don't blame the staff at elected officials for this, because they are largely young and inexperienced when it comes to housing issues. But the other issue I'd like to address is that when I had the borough president send the deputy director of policy and research eventually wrote a letter to HPD's commissioner, only to land on the commissioner's desk the day he resigned to go work for the developer of our building, L&M Management. I've been through numerous co-op boards in 7 years in this building, and as you know, these boards are a popularity contest, and it seems like most people spend more time considering who to vote for on American Idol than who to be on their co-op board. Prior boards, I've emailed them asking if warranties with the building sponsor could to get my ceiling fixed, and they never followed up regarding this issue. Well,
I understand you were giving a summary.
yes, I am giving it, and I'm almost done. I am going to wrap this up. So I think there's a serious oversight when it comes to the buildings department, HPD, buildings, and co-op management. And I hope you address this and maybe even look at how other states manage their co-ops and condos. Because right now the AG's office, apparently the real estate division, is inundated with construction defects issues, and if you take the tour to Wendy, you're welcome to be invited. Right now, the PS90 has scaffolding around the. Percy Sutton might be spinning in his grave right now, knowing the Sutton that named after him has scaffolding around it because bricks fell off the building. So we have to address this because the word quality is very important.
Coming up as a panel, Patrick Bryant and Deborah Kleber. Panel of one. I presume you're Patrick Bryant.
Yes.
All right. You need the chair, yeah.
Chair.
You might need a chair, yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Okay, my name is Patrick Bryant. I'm a disabled vet, and I've been listening to a lot of things here. I live in the HDFC for a few years now, over on 119th Street off of First Avenue. Okay. And my issue here tonight mainly is that, when you become disabled or injuries from the military or whatnot, and you come back, I live in a walk-up. And I have to carry my walker, groceries, or whatever. And I've been trying to get out for years and stuff into something accessible or, first floor. And just getting a runaround. A lot of people don't know that being a veteran, you're entitled to a lot of benefits, and you have organizations and builders and stuff. I'm listening to some of the things that I didn't hear before. If you have a veteran in these buildings and stuff like that, they could most likely get these things addressed and fixed. You're entitled to grants and other stuff as a veteran and get assistance. Also, we're in touch with in-state and out-of-state banks and credit unions. We're entitled to a certain amount of monies from $417,000 to over $700,000 to purchase properties. And I haven't heard anybody here taking advantage of these or getting these veterans that's, displaced right now. Some of them need to be taken by the hand and assisted, but it could benefit you in the long run as long as you assist them. I've been advocating with the Mayor's Office of Veterans Affairs, Inez Aiden, and also with other veterans organizations, including the VA for veterans, you know, despite my disabilities as far as injuries. Again, you know, there's a lot of advantages, you know, having a veteran, you know, in your place. You know, they're paying for it. I have a vast Section 8. I could have it for the rest of my life, transferred to my family. I'm also a single parent. And again, you know, there's a lot of advantages that should be taken because a lot of veterans are, you know, in situations, but they need the assistance. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service, sir.
So I don't know if somebody, Machado, you have any closing statements?
No, Mr. Chair, I appreciate everyone's patience in participating in this panel and these hearings, and we look forward to continuing to work with our communities and making sure that we make our society a little bit more fair and equitable to as many folks as possible.
I want to thank all of the folks that testified here today. I want to thank all of the folks that were listening as well. And just want to let people know there's no secret formula to planning legislation, but this is one of the ways that we do. We have these public hearings and we get ideas. Certainly, Mr. Pichardo and the rest of the members of the committee, we're vehicles in terms of the communities that we represent, and I think we've gotten some good ideas in order to make sure, and the most important issue facing us all in this city today is that of the lack of affordable housing. And certainly affordable housing means a whole lot. It means HDFCs, it means co-ops, and we certainly heard some horror stories, certainly, by one of the testifiers talking about they had to get their own lawyer for almost $10,000. That is certainly something that should not have to be done. But I want to thank all of you for testifying here today. Some of you I've worked with on these issues for a little while, and hopefully we can come up with something this legislative session, not only just bills, because someone was talking about the bills that we passed in the Assembly, but also some bills that will actually turn into mandated pieces of legislation. So thank you for coming out on a Friday night, and happy Black History Month.